Welcome back to this week's episode of the Dead Air Records podcast. My name is Jess.
And I'm Mark.
And we're really excited today to be joined by Will Sargent, incredible guitarist, mainly known from Echo and The Bunnymen, amongst lots of solo projects as well. Really excited to start talking about everything music, Bunnymen, and of course record collecting. So I guess the best place to start might be at the beginning. What are some of your earliest memories of music, Will?
Right, oh God, I think it was my sister singing I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, wow, that actually sounds like that sound coming out the wireless.
Right.
Yeah. She was, a bit of a mod pop girl, kind of, she had like one of them jeans trimmed and haircuts.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what was my earliest memory,
Nice.
I think. And then probably Top of the Pops. And going over to see me mates, these two lads that lived over the road, they were big record collectors, a bit older than me, and they had, all that sort of late 60s, early 70s kind of hard rock kind of stuff,
Nice.
Led Zeppelin and Cream and all that stuff,
That's really cool.
probably that.
Yeah.
I think the first record I bought was Voodoo Child, 7-inch.
Wow.
And it was, they put it out and it was cheap because he just died.
Right.
Hendrix had just died and they put this record out. Should have brought it with me, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
And
Do you still have it?
yeah.
Wow.
And they didn't want to be seen as cashing in on his death, even though they sort of were in a way. So they were selling it for like 2 and 6 or something, or 5 bob, rather than the normal price,
Yeah.
like half price, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it was probably influenced by these lads over the road who were into Hendrix, and
Yeah.
they're also into things like Taste. Jethro Tull were a big band at the time. I still like Jethro Tull now.
Yeah.
Like, that early stuff, Aqualung and all that. Got totally slagged off when the punk rock thing came along, and everyone misconstrued it. They thought it was like some sort of folk kind of. It's not really that folky.
No.
No,
it's not. It's pretty rocky.
And
yeah.
and the lyrics are quite they're not all sort of hey nonny nonny and all that, it's all about like his relationship with the church and his dad and all kinds of mad stuff, that went on.
It's pretty out there, actually.
Yeah.
The Jethro Tull stuff is pretty crazy. My parents were mad into Jethro Tull when I was young, so I got, grew up with all those albums and crazy. What was it like then, growing up in Liverpool during like the 70s and 80s in the music scene, and compared to like, I guess now?
I'm from Melling, which is 8 miles away from Liverpool.
You're a wool.
A woolly back, yeah. And it was just a short bus ride to Liverpool, but I don't know. It was all tied in with fashion and clothes. Clothes were a major thing. Loon pants, flares, and all that stuff. Cheesecloth shirts, and there used to be a great shop in Liverpool called Cape, which did all the hippie stuff, and it stank in there of that, that weird oil and joss sticks and all that.
Yeah.
But it felt like you were really underground. The underground then was kind of underground. Well, it's like now you can get anything, can't you, and do anything, with the internet and all that. It was difficult to find records and also hear about them. You had like the NME and the Melody Maker and Sounds and that. But it was all mainly you'd heard about things by word of mouth, or like, friends, big brothers that were into craft work or something, or I don't know, the Mahavishnu Orchestra or someone like that. And you think, well, that's weird. It seemed so obscure, And I remember when Virgin opened the shop on Bowl Street just over there, and it was like, it was such a kind of weird hippie hangout. They had like beanbags and blokes in there with headphones on with lifts.
Really?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It was, it was kind of, but you could smoke inside in them days, so nobody sort of noticed, and most people wouldn't have known what it was anyway. Probably just thought it was the joss sticks or something.
Right.
It became kind of just a bit of a hang for people, and in the end they closed it down, you know,
Right.
'cause, it was just not making any money. And it was just like
Just people there all day.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember like listening to you could listen to records with these headphones and that. Yeah, that was. I remember buying not Hair Just Rich, Fish Rising by Steve Hillage.
Yes. Yeah. That's a wild album. Yeah.
So the band's journey started in 1978. What's that story of how you all came together?
Well, punk rock had kind of happened, and I was working in Henderson's, which was a big department store on Church Street. It was kind of like John Lewis's, you know, the posh shop. You know, there was them and George Henry Lee's. They were kind of like rivals. And I was working in the kitchens. So I was sort of in Liverpool a lot, you know. Like my mates thought that I was kind of like, you know, from Mellin, you know, sort of looked at me as some sort of sophisticated fella because I was in Liverpool, you know.
Yeah.
But you get like time off. So I'd go wandering around Liverpool and just up and down Bold Street or wherever. You know, you get, you know, an hour or whatever. So you couldn't go that far. But I saw this poster on the wall, and it was in Matthew Street, and it was for a club, you know, for Eric's. And at that point, I was going to work on I had a little motorbike. So I just went to Eric's with me leathers on and, you know, my leather jacket and that. And it was actually XTC, the band. And, you know, it was all, like I'd been going to the stadium to see, I don't know, Sensational Alex Harvey Band and Dr. Feelgood and the Pink Fairies, people like that, you know, Mott the Hoople, whatever, all that sort of stuff. And that was also influenced by these lads over the road, the Mazenkos, because they worked in town as well, and they'd go and get the tickets. You had to go and actually physically buy the ticket, you know, from Probe or wherever, you know.
Right.
But I saw this thing, and I was obviously into music, and had started collecting records, and I just thought I'd go, so I just went. And when I went down into Eric's, there was these two lads that I knew. One was Paul Simpson. When he started the Teardrop Explodes later on, and did the Wild Swans, and still mates with them now.
Cool.
And the other one was Les Pattinson, who was in my class at school. And it's like not that long after leaving school, you know, like 3 years after leaving. I hadn't seen him since then, really. And we sort of, because I felt like a bit of a fish out of water, but because I knew two people, it kind of helped, you know, and I kind of fitted in straight away, in a way. But Les said to me, you're not hanging around with us unless you get your haircut. And he had this amazing Billy Idol haircut,
amazing.
bleached white by his mum. Right. And like he had brilliant hair, like a great big massive quiff. And it looked great. And so I didn't cut my hair, but I sort of adopted the Ramones look really for a while. You know, I had like the ripped jeans anyway, and the leather jacket because of my motorbike.
Yeah.
I had on the back of the jacket, I had Velvets written on the back, you know, in the Velvet Underground writing.
Nice.
And like Lou Reed's head, just did like a stencil of his head.
Yeah.
And you know, there was a few people around town that had things on the back of the leather jackets, and you could spot them from miles off, you know.
Yeah. It's like a signal.
Yeah, you know, you knew who they were straight away, you know. There was one bloke that used to go around. He had Mac the Knife written on the back, but he wasn't a punk. He was like a tramp, you know. But he had this acoustic guitar, and he used to play in the streets, you know, busking and that.
Yeah.
But you'd spot him a mile off. It's like an unusual thing to have on the back, you know. Yeah. So started from that really. Just started going to Eric's, and then it became like an obsession and a religion almost, you know. And we'd go like whenever it was open. It was generally open, like say, well, at the beginning it wasn't open every week. At the very beginning, before I started going, when the Pistols were on and the Runaways and the Stranglers and all them lot, that was like 76, and it was only open like you know, kind of intermittently, really. When I started going, it was kind of spring '77, so it'd already been, but there hadn't been that many gigs on. I think the Clash had been on. I missed the Clash by about a week. Les was there. He got some good photos of the Clash. And what else did I say? Saw everybody. Wayne County was a big thing at the time. We became Jane County.
Right.
And he always used to start with Nighttime, you know, by the Strange Loves.
By the Strange Loves, yeah.
It was great, you know. He was a big thing in Eric's, really.
Right.
Yeah, so bloody everybody. Suicide, Devo, Perubu. The week when the Ramones and the Talking Heads were on, I was going by then. But I didn't go because I was too spotty. I was like covered in spots.
Right.
And I just thought, I'm not going anywhere. And it seemed like they'll be back again in a couple of weeks, because loads of bands would play, and then a few weeks later, like Joy Division played a few times, you know, they'd be back again, you know. So you'd think you'd see them again, you know, like XTC. I think they played a couple of times. X-Ray Specs.
Oh, brilliant.
They were amazing. Yeah, it was just, you just went anyway. Didn't matter who was on, you just went, and you were just exposed to all this stuff. It was just amazing.
Yeah, and that's how you met the rest of the band. And
well, Les was. None of us had, you know, knew how to play anything.
Yeah.
But we sort of, Paul Simpson knew Julian Cope, and you know, because he was doing the Teardrop Explodes and all that. And it seemed like every week someone would be starting a band, you know, even though they couldn't do anything or play anything, it didn't matter. You know, you just make up this name, you know.
And that's it, and you're away.
But you know, well, you didn't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
You know,
you probably had gigs before you were even ready, had songs, you know.
Yeah. Well, our first gig we had one riff basically,
right,
and we did that for 12 minutes, which was a bit prog rock, really.
Yeah, it's pretty avant-garde. Yeah.
We'd never heard Mac sing.
Right.
Yeah, we'd done a couple of rehearsals, but we'd never really. And Mac had been coming to my house, and me and him had been, you know, laying in the guitar as we're writing these things.
Yeah.
We were told, "Oh, Mac can sing."
Yeah.
That was good enough.
That's it.
It didn't really matter. And then when he started singing on this song that we did at Eric's, it was like, bloody hell, you can do it. You know, amazing.
Yeah.
You know.
What I was going to ask you is like, what were the early rehearsals kind of like? And you know, I think your debut gig was at Eric's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1978.
Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, I wonder what that's like. I'm trying to picture what that would have been like. Was it?
It was all the other bands in the crowd.
Right.
Like there's a photo of us playing, and in the crowd is you can see Bill Drummond watching, and a couple of other lads from a band called Come in Tokyo.
Right.
They were another band that were kicking around. Or I think they were called the Germs. They were from Kirby. They were called the Germs before that. And they're watching, and you can tell by, I read something into this photo where Les is like sneering at these two lads, because I think they were like, you know, what are these, the shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what it was like.
And he's not messing around.
It was all. It wasn't like a hippy dippy scene, you know. Everybody hated each other, but it, you know, behind the backs, you know, I was as bad as the rest of them. You know, I have to say to him, them stupid shoes, you know.
Yeah, that's great. Oh dear. So then, 2 years after that, then you drop Crocodiles. I mean, like, how in that time do you go from just playing a gig with one riff to releasing an album that's been lauded for all these years? You know.
I don't know, really.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like our stuff, my stuff anyway, it's very simple.
Yeah.
It's really like one string kind of simple things. And a lot of it was to do with like Bill Drummond kind of pushing us.
Yeah.
You know, oh, we've got to have a single out, you better get on it, you know, kind of thing. And we'd think, oh, shit, you know, so we'd come up with something. And we've got a Peel session next week, and we had nothing. I mean,
how do you go from like? Do you know what I mean? That's it. It's crazy. I
don't know. I just think it was. I would say it's like an elastic band that's been stretched back, and then all of a sudden it's been released, and all these ideas come out. You know, and you didn't even have to think about it. Like I still don't think about. I don't sit like was in my studio yesterday, dicking around, and I wasn't going, oh, I'll do this or I'll try that. You just start playing, and something happens, and I don't know where the hell it comes from.
Yeah.
You know,
It just appears.
it's just like them notes sound good together.
Yeah.
And then you just, I think it must be the way everybody does it, because I'm not that clever to know how to do, to do something. Oh, I'm going to do something with an arpeggio to guitar or something.
Yeah.
I'll just start tinkering around, and something will happen. I think, oh, that's good. I'll record that bit, and then something else will happen. Oh, that bit goes with that bit. I'll join the two bits together. That's kind of what we did when me and Mac started, just with 2 acoustic guitars. I had a 12-string, and he had some old acoustic that he got from somewhere. I don't know where he got it from. And we just chug away on the E chord for ages, and then I'd do like some little notey things. And he'd go, oh, that bit's good, I go, oh, yeah. And then we'd record it on a cassette, because I'd immediately forget it.
Yeah.
How the hell did I do that?
It's gone.
Yeah. Because it was instant.
Yeah. I saw an interview with Ian Brody where he said that he got involved reluctantly on producing the record, that he'd given some advice maybe in the back of a van, and then the next minute he was getting called up to be a producer.
We knew him a bit because he was big in Japan with Bill Drummond, and so he was about, and he was in Eric, he was going to Eric's all the time, so we sort of knew him a little bit. We gave him a lift, I think, and he was listening to our demos that we'd done. And he was like, oh, that bit's all right, and that bit's good, but that bit should be there, But he did a single at first. He didn't do the album.
Right.
He didn't produce us until, really, an album until Porcupine.
Right.
But he did the first single.
Right.
But the first sort of, on Corova.
Yeah.
On a major label kind of thing. And he said, I'll do 2 songs with you, and he did Pride and he did Rescue.
Wow.
And we went down to where they've redeveloped all the docks, not the Albert dock, but the one further down.
Further down, yeah.
Can't remember what it's called, but there was like this harbour master's building, and it was all derelict. There was nothing down. You could just go in there.
Right.
There was no security or anything. And Drummond knew about this place somehow, and he'd been pottering around with his camera, taking photos and being arty. And I think there was like this little sort of, it was kind of like a little, almost like an electricity substation or something, or it was just like a square, weird bunker next to this great big posh kind of harbour master's house that was all derelict, smashed windows and wrecked, and there was nothing down there. It was just empty.
Right.
It was all cobbles and bits of old railway track in the floor, where they'd obviously brought coal in or whatever. And you had to go across all these rattly bridges to get to it, across all big docks and stuff. And Roger Eagle from Eric's had somehow got this place as a rehearsal place for bands, and Drummond knew about it,
Right.
So we went down there, and it was like it was just a dump. It was full of all kinds of crap in there, And we had to clean it all out first. And we're like, this is shit, like.
Yeah.
And we started just jamming, and the Brody came down, and somehow I just come up with that ding dong ding, on Rescue, and Brody spotted it, said, oh, that's good, keep that, So we just started doing that, and then I was doing like this sort of slightly funky. We wanted to be a bit like Talking Heads,
right?
And their funk element, we liked that,
Yeah.
That's why there is sort of scratchy guitars and kind of like little kind of bits, because it was coming from the Talking Heads really, and their
so
kind
cool.
of like influence of funk and kind of soul-y kind of stuff. So we had that element in there. And we went in and recorded it, and can't remember what it was. I think it might have been. Can't remember what studio it was. Maybe it was Rockfield.
Right.
And that's all he wanted to do. So that became a single, and that sort of did okay, And for our first single, Pictures on My Wall, we just did that ourselves, We didn't.
Really?
And I had this 12-string guitar riff, you know, like just chords, loads of chords. Basically all the chords that I'd learned, just put them all in a line,
Yeah.
you know, and just hit them all. And then like went back. And yeah, we just did that. And that became, because it was so different as well, because I had a drum machine
Yeah.
just ticking away. And
This is the Echo, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it became, it's
Echo.
not really Echo.
Yeah.
We just made that story up.
Right.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
It was just Mac was getting called Echo and we didn't like it.
Right.
And he didn't like it, to be fair. So
Yeah.
he came up with this story when he was asked who's Echo. He said, oh, it's the drum machine.
Nice. Right.
And that kind of became the legend then.
The legend, yeah.
And we were happy about that because we didn't want to be the Bunnymen. And
Yeah.
we got this leader fella.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, and I never liked the name really, you know, because it's a bit Huey Lewis in the News, isn't it? Or whatever, you know, or you know, Elvis Costello on the Attractions.
Yeah.
I liked the Bunnymen.
Yeah.
Thought that was cool, but it sort of grows on you and it becomes like the thing, and it's in such an odd name and such a surrealist kind of concept that it kind of becomes okay.
I think it's wonderful, to be honest. I think it's grown like into this amazing
Hootie
thing.
and the Blowfish.
Yeah.
Who's that other lot as well? There's another one, isn't there? That's got a similar name.
A lot of bands then struggle with their second album. People call it a sophomore slump or something
It's
like
the
that.
third album.
I always thought it was the second, but
Okay.
anyway, from a listener's perspective, like Heaven Up Here just feels like it just came out, like slid out.
Like I say, we were like an elastic band
Yeah.
with all these ideas, and
Yeah.
there was 4 of us bringing in ideas as
Right.
well. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't just
So it was easy.
me or Mac or, you know, Les
Yeah.
had come up with a bass line and we just all jump in on it.
Yeah.
You know, even drumming, you know, it's always seen as like a second-rate thing, but it's not.
No.
It's dead important.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always thought that we're all in this together.
Yeah.
That was my theory.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
It's such a good album. I mean, a lot of people. So doing my research ahead of the interview, I was looking at how people received the albums and how they rank them and things like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said Heaven Up Here is like their favorite record, the post punk record almost. And yeah, it sounds fuller and like bass driven, and you know, it's a great album. But yeah. So it's just was there like pressure to follow up Crocodiles or?
There was a bit, because some of them we made them up in the studio.
Right.
We had loads of ideas by then, you know, and we'd done loads of demos for John Peel.
Yeah.
We used to, you know, John Peel sessions were our demos. That's what we used to do. And Bill Drummond would go, "You've got this John Peel session next week. You better get your shit together," you know.
Wow.
So we just like have 2 or 3 half-arsed ideas and work them out at John Peel's place, you know, at Maida Vale. And then it was, once we'd done that, it became real, and then we could refine it in the studio, you know.
What was John like? It's just a
Well,
legend.
he was never there.
Really?
No,
Oh, interesting.
it's not like, it was just a studio. It was in Maida Vale in
Right.
London.
Yeah.
It was a great place, like, because there was like the radiophonic workshop were in there as well. So me and Les would be like sneaking in and having a look at all the gizmos and
Yeah.
stuff that they had, you know. And it was a big studio. They'd have, you know, like big bands, you know, and the Mike Sam singers and all this sort of stuff going off in like a room where they could put an orchestra, and you could hear the feed in the studio.
Wow.
So, and it was great because in our studio you could see what was going on in the other studio, and you just hear this like ambient kind of like wash of reverb and people talking, you know, like the musicians talking, and it'd be all echoey and that, you know.
That's really cool.
And it was great, you know. We should have used some of that.
Yeah,
'cause it would have
recorded
been-
it. And, yeah.
You know, it was before they were playing. It was just like, you know, you could hear like,
tune ups. And,
and flicking through the music and all that stuff. And it was all echoey and through a big plate reverb. Remember that sound? It was a really weird sound, you know.
Yeah.
And I guess then following on from that, Porcupine came in 1983, and it feels like there was more of like an expanded like texture and mood to it. And you've talked about that elastic band theory.
Yeah.
Was it like a conscious decision to kind of move the sound in a different way, or do you think that just naturally came from four people bringing ideas to the table?
It was just pretty much more of the same, but we did it, and then the record company didn't like it, so we had to sort of do it again.
Right.
They were like, you know, certain things have come out on these, you know, CD box sets and stuff like that, but we'd kind of done the songs, but they didn't like the way it was. I don't know. They like Brody made it a bit more sophisticated, I think. You know, he kind of arranged a lot of it and helped arrange a lot of it, and yeah, so we had to go back in and do it again. Remember that? And remember being really pissed off with the record label,
yeah,
because they just didn't get what we were about. But you know, like it was like that. That's what I mean. It was the difficult one. Was the third one? You know.
Yeah.
It was coming up with ideas that were good. You know, and a lot of the ideas were just maybe one-dimensional at the time. You know, and I was like quite into just droning on and one, you know, in D basically. A lot of that album is D.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of D involved.
Yeah.
Like, there's one, Gods Will Be Gods. It's basically all D. I think there's one more chord in it somewhere along the way. And I remember Drummond saying in some interview or something that we've got a guitarist that thinks that if you change chord, you're selling out.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So it was a bit of that, you know. And we were really into the Fall and their whole concept and the kind of like, you know, do it yourself, and it's all a bit rough and ready and all that, but didn't go down very well with the record label, that sort of idea, you know, when they're looking at trying to get hits in America or something.
Yeah.
Our first big breakthrough in America was we did a song called The Puppet, which the label wanted to put some more. I think they wanted to put Villiers Terrace out off Crocodiles,
Right.
and we were dead against that, you know, because we thought it was like against punk ethics to put loads of like singles out off your record somehow, you know, or underground post-punk or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
We were called all kinds, postmodernist, new psychedelia.
Did you just ignore the labels? I guess you had to,
What
right?
was it? Overcoat, gloomy overcoat music, all kinds of stuff like this. And yeah, so we told the record label that we had this great song. We didn't have anything, so we just I had this little riff, and we built a song around it, and we did that as the second single. Didn't do anything like, but there was a film company from America that were doing a documentary about all these new bands, like, you know, U2 and Oars and Teardrops or whoever.
Yeah.
I don't know about Teardrops on it actually, but it's called Egg, A Music War. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I'll have to check it out. Yeah.
It's like, you know, Americans' take on this scene that's
UK
going on
subculture.
in it.
Yeah. It's not going to be great.
Like new wave, you
Yeah.
know. We hated that term, new wave.
Yeah.
And the Puppet we did a live version of the Puppet. It was in the set by then, so we did this, and they put that on the film, and that really gave us a leg up in America. That one song, which we never ever played since. Like,
That's crazy.
Mac
Yeah.
hates it.
Really?
I don't know why. The lyrics or something.
Right.
And yeah, that really helped in America. And then we got a tour. We were, you know, we went over and we did a couple of places in America in about 1981. It was straight after doing Heaven Up Here. We were in Rockfield, and we'd just about finished the record, and Hugh Jones was mixing it, and he was kind of like producing it, and we were recording or listening to mixes or whatever, and everyone around the desk shoving things up and all that stuff. And after we'd finished, we'd go in this pig shed and rehearse for this American tour, and it was a proper grim.
Proper pig shed.
Yeah, it was just like a disused pig shed,
Right.
You know? And because rock feels like a farm, you know.
Right.
And we were getting no sleep at all. Like, you know, it's just recording all day until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Then like getting up early, rehearsing, and then back in the studio. It was just, everyone was hallucinating and all kinds. Remember Pete DeFreitas, I think it was Pete, it might have been Les, but there was a salt cellar on the table, and he went, that salt cellar just moved. Like, we're like, what? Like, we did think the place we were staying was kind of haunted.
Haunted, yeah.
But I never saw it move, but he reckons it moved.
Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Right.
So, yeah, it was difficult, the third album, in a way.
Difficult.
But
yeah.
When we did Back of Love, we did that separately, wasn't it? I think it was another studio, Rack Studios, I think it was. And Ian was there, Brody, and the record label didn't like it, so Drummond went back in. In fact, it was dead slow at first, and then I think Ian suggested we speed it up. It's about 148 BPM or something, you know, it's dead fast.
Yeah.
And the record label like freaked out by it, you know, they didn't like it, and Drummond didn't like it. And then we went back in. Well, Bill went back in without us knowing, or something happened where it got remixed a bit, and all of a sudden they all loved it, you know. So it couldn't have been that radically different, but you know.
After which, then we land on Ocean Rain, which, by all accounts, I mean, I don't want to blow smoke too much, but it's an all-time masterpiece as I see it, and released in 1984. So did you know at the time, the question really is, did you know at the time in writing, recording, or at the release that it would become what it turned into?
Well, it got slagged off when it came out. They compared it to the Moody Blues, which were kind of uncool. Like, I love the Moody Blues.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
exactly.
But they were kind of very uncool at the time, you know, like Nights in White Satin and all
It's
that.
great. It's one of the greatest songs ever. Yeah,
It's just that it's played to death in it, so you know, people get bored of these things. But yeah, you know, we wanted to do something we always wanted to do something different, you know. That was kind of like our thing, and we were really into like Love and Scott Walker and Jacques Brel and all that.
Yeah.
So there was like this idea of doing like an orchestral kind of thing, or you know, and Mac wanted to go to Paris for the sort of romantic kind of vibes. I was kind of like, you know, but I loved it, you know.
Yeah.
And me and Les took our push bikes, so we'd go cycling around, you know, on the way to the studio.
Yeah.
You know, going on the bloody Arc de Triomphe on a push bike.
It's incredible.
On the wrong side of the road.
Yeah, getting
and
beeped.
all that.
Yeah.
Cobbly, wet cobble streets. It was quite good. But it was great way of seeing the city, you know. It was just fantastic. And we had a French engineer. We were producing it. It was just like whoever was there was in charge kind of thing. We didn't really have anybody telling us what to do. There was these 2 French fellas, and Pete could speak French quite well, you know.
Yeah.
He was a pretty clever bloke, you know. So we could sort of communicate what we were after. And they had this, I always remember they had this amazing plate reverb unit. They had like, it was very BBC, the place. It was like old school kind of recording place. But they had this plate reverb, which is like a great big wooden box. And it has some sort of, I think they call it a slate. It's like, I don't know whether it's made out of slate, but it's got something in it. So you get that really big Scott Walker-y kind of massive reverb that's dead warm, you know. And everything through that sound, like they put everything through it, and it just sounded great, you know. It sounded like instant, like one of them amazingly produced 60s records, you know. And the trouble is we didn't mix it there, so we had to do it. We did it in Kirby.
Right. It's a big
we
difference.
hired in a big plate reverb to try and get the sound, but it wasn't quite as good, you know.
Right.
But yeah. So yeah, we were in Paris and it was great. It was just we were in a hotel, and we, you know, me and Les had cycled to the studio, or we were only there I think 3 weeks.
Right.
a lot of the time we were in the studio, we weren't exploring Paris that much. It was just mainly the bike rides.
Yeah.
It was a different approach.
Yeah.
The French thing was different, And we got this French orchestra.
Yeah.
First off, we met this bloke that was going to, do the scores and all that, And he was an arrogant turd. Like, we went for a meal, and me and Mac didn't like him at all.
Right.
Like, who's this? He's a gobshite, this
Right.
like, he was like very hoity, thought he was better than everybody and all that. We just thought, you're a bellend.
It's not going to work. Yeah, yeah.
So we said, we're not having him. He can fuck off.
Nice.
And, but we'd done some recording with Adam Peters, and he was only 18 at the time, but he was from the Royal College of Music or something, in London. And he knew his onions, knew his way around the score and all that.
Nice.
So we phoned him up, and Drummond got in touch with him. It's like, will you come over and do the score? Wow. He was in London, and he came over, and they had like a sort of little upstairs from the studio, or down the corridor from the studio. There was a room where you hang out, when you're not doing anything, telly and all that.
Nice.
And there was a piano in there. So we'd give Adam a cassette of what we'd been up to down in the studio, and he'd transpose it all to a piano, and then he'd like write what he wanted all the instruments to do, the cellos and the violins and all the rest of it. And he could hear it all in his head. And we were like, and he'd take little bits that I'd done or Mac had done or even Les had done, and like he'd expand it. And it was brilliant, really, because we couldn't see what it was going to sound like. We couldn't, there was nobody there on a keyboard going, on a synthesizer or anything going, it's going to go like this.
Right.
It was just him on a piano going plinky plonky. I think
writing
this will do this and this, and he's writing it all down. And then, when it was all ready and we'd done it all, we went to this other studio. It was like a bigger place where they could put an orchestra, and I think the engineer had organised, a fella that's like the orchestra leader, to get a load of blokes in, or like could read all the dots, because that's what they do. They just read the dots and do it,
Yeah.
And the conductor is the one that says, no, we want more emphasis on that, or we want this, we want that. And Adam was conducting it. And in between takes and things, I remember it was a great studio. I was lying down on the floor in the middle of it all on a carpet, and just like soaking it all in, all these like strings. There was like 30 odd of them or something.
It's just incredible.
And Adam it was so funny. They were all slagging him off. It was this English prick, whatever, he thinks he's only 18. And these are all like grizzly old Parisians that have been, on Edith Piaf records or whatever, and like they were slagging him off in French.
Oh my God.
And then at the end, they didn't know that Adam could speak fluent French. And at the end, he was like, oh yeah, there's one bloke, he was playing the wrong note. And it was an oboe or something, and he was playing this wrong, and I was like, so much wrong here. And he's like, he's very like forthright, Adam. He's like, doesn't take no shit.
No messing around.
Yeah. And he said, no, it's this note here, and he'd bang in the thing, this one. And he's like, the bloke was like, and that antagonized them all, and they were all a bit like, we don't like you, you're a, English twat. They all clapped at the end, and he spoke to them in French, fluent French, and like all of a sudden he realised like, he could hear everything what we've been saying about him. Right. It was quite funny that. That's great.
The perfect timing of.
But they all at the end they were all like, they all thought it was good. Yeah. I remember being in the control room and listening to it, and when they were down there, and setting takes, I'd go up in there, and it was mad just hearing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To go from where you were
to
like
in Paris, a couple of guitars and
with a full orchestra and like
and it was kind of nobody else was doing it. Maybe ABC, I don't know whether they were, I don't know them else, but we were coming to it from like Scott Walker, Jack Brel, Love, kind of vibe.
Scott Walker Records or something else.
Brilliant.
I mean, just incredible. Mac went on the record saying Ocean Rain is the greatest album ever made, and The Killing Moon's the greatest song ever written. We have quotes of that somewhere. I don't think he's far off, to be honest. I mean, it's in good company, but I guess then the question's like, once you've done that and it's gone out and it's, then how do you follow that up? Like, you know, and that's I guess you probably were asking yourself that every time.
I don't know. I never lacked the confidence to think like that. You know, it was more things had started to change after Ocean Rain.
Yeah.
Mac was starting to become, because he was like all over the front pages of, you know, he was becoming the leader.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like grating a bit. Well, a lot eventually. Yeah. And so it was mainly he was pushing his ideas all the time, you know, and we were all getting like sidelined a bit. You know, there's certain things like Lips Like Sugar, I came up with that. And it was starting to become a bit like he's coming in with all these things and we're not getting involved in the writing process anymore, you know, sort of. And it was kind of changing. We played Bedbugs and Ballyhoo, which Les came up with, and it was a B-side. And he just had that bass riff thing that he had.
So good.
So we just jogged in and did some bits and that, and added lyrics, and that went on it. And Lips Like Sugar, but I'd be hard pressed to remember any of the others.
Really?
When Bombers Bay was one.
Yeah.
I've never played it.
Right.
Since.
Really? It's just like. Oh,
not really. Maybe it's good. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll have a muffle. But that another weird thing. That did all right in America.
Yeah.
You know, it became like, you know, our most well-known thing at the time.
Yeah. Was there pressure from any
Yeah,
labels?
loads of pressure at that point.
Right. So they're trying to get you to break America.
We're on the verge of getting dropped all the time.
Right.
Drummond kept a lot of it from us.
Right.
But he was having all kinds of arguments and stuff with the label, you know, who did stick by us, you know. But they were getting pressure from their bosses.
Right.
You know, because we didn't sell many records. You know, even that Grey album. I think at the time, I think it sold 500,000.
Right.
Which, you know,
I mean, that's a lot, though.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
For an indie band or whatever, but it's not a lot for like, you know, like the Smiths or whatever, selling like 10 million or something, you know. And The Cure and all that, they were selling millions, you know. So it's kind of, we were definitely down on the pecking order of sales, you know, for that sort of period. But we were still playing pretty big places, and we did a tour with New Order, which was really good.
Amazing, yeah.
We sort of knew them a bit anyway from Joy Division.
Yeah.
Because we used to go and see them, go up to Manchester and watch them in the fall. You know, we were kind of, because Les had this van, so we were kind of mobile, you know, that was a big advantage to us, that having that van.
Yeah.
Because we could go and do gigs, you know, in York or Leeds or wherever.
Move around. Yeah.
And we wouldn't have to hire a van, you know, because you were getting like 50 quid or something, you know, you weren't getting, like tickets were like £1.75 to get in or something.
Yeah.
You never made any money. It was always, you had to go to the record company to get tour support, which went on your bill, you know, went on your debt. Like even when we left Warner's, when they dropped us, we owed like 800,000 quid. Wow. And we were a sort of successful band.
Yeah.
It's totally geared in their favour and still is.
Yeah, of course.
Spotify's even worse than all them things.
Terrible. Yeah.
I don't have any of my solo things on that. Yeah. None of it.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Bandcamp.
Well, I've got a bit on that, but I don't publicise it really. And the Bunnymen are on there, obviously, but none of my things are on there. Like, you know, I only do them for me anyway. You know, really, it's like a hobby. It's like collecting stamps or bird spotting or something. You know.
Yeah.
Making weird records that nobody wants.
Great. I mean, cool.
And then, so I guess after self-titled and there was that pressure there, came a bit of a time of turmoil for the band. How did you find creative inspiration during that time to keep on producing music?
Well, after the Grey album, well, Mac left
Yeah,
after the
Mac
Grey
left.
album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the end of that, really. And then, like, we didn't know what to do. It was the fella from the record company phoned me up, and he'd never ever phoned me up. He virtually never spoke to me. This fella, you know, where's Mac? Where's Mac? You know, that's all they wanted to know. And he said, well, what are you going to do? And said, why don't you just get another singer? And like, I thought, that's something your auntie says.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or your mum or your gran. Oh, get another singer. You know, it's like, but because it was the fella from the record label, and then my brain starts going, well, Genesis got another singer, you know, and the Buzzcocks and such and such and such, and I convinced myself it was a good idea, and it wasn't. It was a bad idea, but we had a crack at it, you know, and it turned out, you know, it was just going down and down, and we'd just come from doing like the Greek Theatre in Los Angeles, which is about 5,000 or 6,000 people. Now we're doing like a little club in Kansas. But all these little, I was sat in this graveyard in where was it? Kentucky. It was
Right.
Kentucky, and I was just thinking, this is shit. Like, you know, really pissed off, and all these fireflies just appeared and started coming up from all the grass and just like flickering, and it was amazing. I'd never seen anything like it.
That's so cool. That's just amazing. I could just see it when you were saying it then.
Yeah. And it was like a little broken down old graveyard with all the tombstones all bent over, and like you could imagine it from like, you know, cowboy times. You know, it would have been still there.
Wow.
You know. We played, well, last tour we did, we went to this great town called Pendleton, and that was like that. It was still like a kind of, yeah, it was total Back to the Future kind of town, you know, with like a street with them buildings with the flat roofs where you can imagine somebody on the top with a Winchester.
Yeah.
Like waiting for them, you know, the James gang to roll into town or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Oh, God. So then you and Matt got back together and you did Electrafiction, which I've got a real soft spot for that record.
Yeah.
Heavy album, and like, you know, how did that come about, and why not just go straight back to the Bunnymen?
Well, I wanted to go back to the Bunnymen, but Mac didn't.
Right.
He's the way he looked at it, it had all been tainted by us getting a different singer and all that. I think, you know, fair dues, you know. But and Les got involved later on. But he just wanted me and him to do something, and it was kind of like that grunge period, and he was quite, you know, he was into all that.
Nice.
And I've always been into like heavy guitar anyway, from the Zeppelin days, you know. And so it just sort of appeared, this record, and I think the couple of tracks he'd done a thing with Johnny Marr, and I think Low Down, maybe just the one track, but there was one called Low Down which he already had with Johnny Marr, and we kind of did our version of that. That was quite cool.
And there's some lovely remixes on that album as well. Like, I think there's...
I've never really played it.
Oh, really?
Well, you know, when you go into a studio,
Yeah.
and you're doing these things, you listen to it about 5,000
Yes.
times,
Yeah.
and it's like you're analysing it. Oh, that hi-hat's maybe half a decibel too loud,
Yeah,
you know, whatever. And
you're hearing it over and over and over again.
and it just after a while, I've heard it enough.
Yeah.
And then you're playing them live, so that's when you're there. I'm not going to go home and start playing.
Listening to him.
Yeah.
So after that, then there's this amazing comeback with Evergreen, but I guess the musical landscape at that point's changed, and now you're in the middle of Britpop fever. I mean, what was it like coming back during the middle of that?
It was kind of weird. We were like slagged off.
It's crazy.
You know, I remember we did like me and Mac and Les did like a press conference thing, and they were like really antagonistic questions, you know, and it was like, just felt like a bit, you know, they'd forgot what we were or whatever, you know, I don't know. But you know, we did it and it was all right. We went to Marrakesh to do a video, and we did the LP cover there as well. And that was quite good, you know. because all our covers had like kind of naturalistic things. Even the
Yes.
Grey LP, we were up Ashurst Beacon to do that, you know, in near Parbold, it's up by
Right.
me where I live.
Nice.
And yeah, but we wanted it to sort of have a link, but we didn't mind having a car. There was a car, like we love this Citroen DS car.
So that's in Marrakesh.
Yeah.
Wow.
We went to Marrakesh. It was great.
A lot of the albums, have like this lovely cohesive artwork thread that go through
A
them.
lot of that was to do with Brian Griffin,
Right.
who was the photographer on the first 4 albums.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't do the 5th one.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Even he doesn't. I asked him. He died now, but I asked him, and he didn't know why the change was.
So Evergreen was different.
That was a different photographer, but we still tried to be.
Kept
You
the
know, we
theme.
were in the jungle or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, or in like some sort of foresty bit. It was a pretty interesting, because we went over to do a video, and he was a photographer. This fella. He took pictures while he was doing the video as well. So we had loads of photos done there. And we were staying in this kind of like a holiday chalet kind of thing. But there was nobody there. It was like out of season, if you like. So it was empty.
Empty. Had it all to yourself.
One night we were all round by the pool, and we could hear these drums. Like, it's like in the distance, these drums. I'm like, where that's coming from? You know, it wasn't like a rave drum. It was just like, it's like some tribal thing going on, you know. I think, where the hell's that coming from? We were like wandering around trying to find where these drums, we could never find where they were coming
Wow.
from. Because it was like in the middle of the desert or something,
Right.
you know. Like, can you hear that?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like drums in the distance.
Oh, that's amazing.
Odd. We'd slipped into another dimension, I think.
Back to the mysterious salt shaker.
Yeah.
God, that's great.
Yeah. We have got a weird kind of link with the supernatural.
So we wanted to talk to you about soundtracks, really, and some of Bunnymen's music's been used some iconic soundtracks on film and TV, especially around like coming of age stories. And we just wondered, like, did you, how do you feel about that music being used to shape those stories, and what's the kind of story behind some of those?
Well, I like it. Like, I always thought our music had a visual filmic element
100%.
anyway, you know. It's kind of perfect for that, you know.
We're talking Lost Boys, we're
Yeah.
talking Donnie Darko, and like even more recently, like 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
All of those cultural moments, right?
Yeah, and I guess there's always like a subculture theme within those films.
51st Dates as
yeah,
well, I think.
yeah.
And the
Pretty in Pink and
what's the other one as well? The TV thing, Stranger Things.
Stranger
And they
Things.
used like Nocturnal Me,
Yeah,
which was an unusual one to use, really, you know.
yeah.
And that got us on the Spotify chart thing. Our web fella showed us this.
Yeah.
When that was out, Nocturnal Me was Killing Moon and Nocturnal Me.
That's
on
crazy.
like the sort of lists,
Yeah.
you know. It just shows you the power of something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we embraced it. We liked it, you know. And we always say yeah. If somebody asks us to use anything, we always say yeah, really, you know.
What do you think it is about the music that resonates with coming of age, though? What do you think it's something about youth culture, or?
I don't know. I think a lot of it is like the directors have grown up with us, and then they've got to the point where they're probably interested in film when they were students and interested in music, and it'd be us and Joy Division and U2 or whoever, and then like as they get older and they become in positions of being a director, they're looking back at what they liked.
Yeah.
I think that's as simple as that. Really.
Yeah, cool.
But it works.
So can I ask you about the album, What You're Going to Do With Your Life? I read somewhere that you felt sidelined there as well with Mac, taking the lead on the production and the songwriting and stuff. How do you reflect on that album now? Do you just never listen to it like you said? Just
Not really, but that's not because of that. It's just I never listen to any of them.
Right.
Unless I've got to work something out and remember how to play something.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I would never listen to it for my own enjoyment.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why. It's just done.
Just done. Gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So of the later albums as well, I just wanted to touch on Meteorites. I love that record. It just felt like a really big statement at the time as well. String arrangements again, dynamic and focus. And is there any experiences you could share with us in making that record? Or?
Yeah, but it's pretty negative.
Really?
Yeah, it was horrible. I was in with went to a youth's house in Clapham or something like that.
Right.
And I had a couple of days to do some guitars. It was just mad. It was at the top of his house, this studio. They had, I think they were using Logic. I was just playing guitar bits and trying to figure things out and that. And his daughter was in the other room playing jungle music, like dead loud. It was just like, and then there was a fella from next door complaining because he had the windows open and that. And there's some fellow shouting up, "Turn it down!" Like, it was just a weird setup. I couldn't wait to get out of there. Tell you the truth,
right?
It was a freak show.
Oh dear.
And then, so, well, I guess outside of the Bunnymen, we've talked about some of your solo projects and like how that's always been quite experimental. And this year we saw that Weird as Fish, which was your first solo album, is now on vinyl for the very first time, which is amazing. What's it like to revisit that as the first piece of music you made? And is it nice to kind of have it on a physical format finally?
Yeah, you know, to me, that was always going to be, like, I always just wanted it to be like this sort of legendary thing, you know, that was unobtainable, if you like. Like, I only made 7 cassettes and gave them to like Copy and Paul Simpson and Bernie Connor and a few other people that I knew, you know. And that was the end of it. And then, you know, some of them surfaced and then we put it on CD with Oka Records a good few years ago, but it had never been on vinyl. And I've started doing stuff on this AV8 Records thing, and they wanted to put it out, so I said, yeah, you know, why not? And to me, it's kind of like archaeology. It's like a historical artifact. It's not the best record in the world. It's probably one of the worst. But to me, it's interesting.
It's
like,
interesting.
It's like, if you listen to it, there's like just about every guitar lick I've ever done since, but they're all together at the same time, all at once,
right? You
know, and it's kind of like a chaotic cacophony.
Yeah.
And considering I had like a cassette player, and I think I had a reel-to-reel 2-track thing, which you could do this feature where it would bounce from track to track, and then you could sort of record on 3 tracks and then bounce it all onto 1 track, and then you have 3 tracks clear again. So it was kind of like messing around like that, and it was experimental because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and still don't.
You influenced by like ambient Eno and things like that?
I was a massive Roxy fan, and when Eno left, it was like devastating, you know. You know, like they did a couple of good albums after he left, but to me, the first 2 albums are
incredible,
the best albums. And then I started, you know, obviously started collecting all the Eno stuff as soon as he started doing, you know, Here Come the Warm Jets or whatever the first one was, and No Pussyfootin' and all them things. You know, I always wanted to be the Liverpudlian Eno, but it's never really worked. You know? Like where he makes a £1 million a year off his ambient works, I make 20 quid. If I'm lucky.
Oh, dear.
And that experimental work, it sounds very different to the Bunnymen. Is there quite like a cathartic process in creating something that's just you making that on your own versus the collaborative band process?
Yeah, I always liked electronic music. I was into Tangerine Dream and Kraftwerk and all that stuff from, you know, 12 years old or whatever, you know. And so I've never really seen myself as a guitarist. You know, sort of it's just a tool that you use. 100%. And if I can make it sound not like a guitar, I'm happy. You know, that's what I do a lot. Like we did have a sort of no synthesizer rule at the beginning.
Interesting.
So anything that sounds like a synthesizer is generally me on the guitar doing through some sort of weird effect or recording it in a strange way or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the only synth that was on, it was on Over the Wall.
Right.
And we had an ARP, and Dave Balfe played it.
Nice.
And did some like weird white noise kind of sounds, you know, all that was the first time we had a synth. Like I didn't even want organ on it, you know, and he was putting organ on Do It Clean.
Yeah.
On the first record. I'm like, shit, man. You're getting like these little narrow-minded kind of thing, and it was to do with punk.
Right.
You know, it's like you weren't allowed to do things. Yeah. There was, considering it was anarchy, there was bloody loads of rules. You know.
So you've worked alongside Mac now for like more than a short while, should we say, right? Which is a kind of a rare thing in music to have that collaborative process for so long. So how would you describe him, both as a collaborator, and as a person? And how's that relationship sort of developed over the years?
There's no relationship at the minute.
Really?
No, it's kind of workmates.
Right.
You know, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh.
End of question. There's not really much else you can say. It's like, you know, we're on different paths.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Cool. So I've been reading your book, Bunnyman, a memoir. Been enjoying this. It's dark in places, funny and uplifting. What was it like revisiting these memories? And when was it written as well? Was it during COVID or?
Well, weirdly, I started it before the COVID thing, but because of the COVID thing, it really helped me. You know, because there was nobody hassling you.
Yeah.
You know, so that was kind of good. It came in handy. The deaths of thousands. Quite useful for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was like going in a time machine and remembering just putting yourself back in like my dad's back parlour and remembering what it looked like. And
like it's extremely detailed.
Didn't have a lot of photos from that period because I didn't like getting my photo taken through being super spotty. And plus no one had cameras in them days anyway. You know, you're lucky if someone had an Instamatic 6 doors up the road, you know. So any photos, you know, I've got from other people, a lot of them. And it is detailed, but it's like I can remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know? And there's some photos so I can visualize it, can see what it looks like. It just looked like a bit of a church hall thing, but at the time to us, it seemed like this big, amazing place with a plush carpet and all that. But it was just like one of these wedding venues, really, you know. So yeah, the internet helped a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and all them early gigs, there's always some lad that went there and he's got the set list or something, so you can see exactly what you did. And, I used to have to turn the knob on the drum machine to get it. Like I had all these marks, you know, just because it wasn't digital or anything. You had to just turn this little knob, and if you turned it a fraction too far, it'd be too fast, you know. And like you had to like be dead careful, or Mac would look at you too fast. You have to turn it down a bit.
Yeah.
It was very primitive.
Yeah.
You know, but it was good, you know. And like the stuff when I was a kid, most of it is about when, you know, growing up in the outskirts of Liverpool and going to school and all that. Skinhead gangs coming down and things like that. There was loads of gangs and, you know, but it wasn't, nobody was getting knifed up. You know, it was always just a thick ear or something, you know.
Right.
So it's a funny time, 70s.
Yeah, mad.
You know.
Yeah.
So, Will, as we're in a record shop, we've got to talk vinyl, and you've brought some lovely 7-inch singles here from home. Can you just talk us through what you brought and maybe some of the stories behind your record collection?
Well, I was, you know, through Eric's really, unlike the Velvets. Like I got the first Velvet Underground record. The first one I bought was in 1973, and I just bought it because I liked the cover. Really, I liked that sort of Warhol-esque
Yeah.
kind of. I don't think it was Andy Warhol that did the cover. It was a compilation with like loads of lips on it.
Oh, I know the one you mean.
I
Yeah.
don't know I'm not sure that he did it and had a Coke bottle inside.
Right.
I just thought it was dead cool. Loved
Yeah.
all that pop art stuff. So, and in Eric's, they did play things like the Standells, Dirty Water, and Nighttime by the Strange Loves, and things like this, and loads of Velvets and that. So there was this whole world to be discovered of like garage and psych music.
Yeah.
I always think of it as like the garage stuff is kind of the American side of it, and the psychedelic stuff is the British side of it. They were a bit more like experimental with the sounds and reverse guitars and vocals through Leslie cabinets and things like that. Whereas the American side of it was a bit more kind of 13th floor elevator-y, and a bit more kind of based in blues, really.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the British stuff was heading towards prog rock and kind of based in like classical world, and the Beatles doing Sgt. Pepper's and all that stuff, so I just started collecting, singles, and this one here, Michelangelo, actually found that 23rd off. They're from Kirby.
Right.
They were like a Merseybeat band called the Kirby's.
Right.
And a bloke called Jimmy Campbell was like the sort of singer, and and he's kind of legendary fella in Liverpool in that world. He's actually, I think he's dead now. Like, he is. And this 23rd off, I couldn't believe it. Found it at a car boot sale for like 20p.
Wow.
And it's immaculate. It's like, it's been on my jukebox, so it's probably not that immaculate now, but it still looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a great big scratch there. What happened there? Ruined.
Ruined.
Anyway, it'll still play.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. It's like, and it's one of my favourite records. Do you know it,
cool.
Michelangelo?
No, I don't know it. No, I'm gonna have to.
It's
listen.
not like, it's quite twee and
Right.
gentle, but it's great. And obviously the creation, Biff Bang Pow.
Yeah.
The
trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just collect all this stuff. Got loads of Doors ones.
Nice.
Paper Sun by Traffic.
Great.
It was me and a bloke called Bernie Connor. Don't know whether you know him, but I had by the sort of mid 80s, I'd upgraded to a 4-track TIAC, Tascam TIAC, reel-to-reel machine, and we did these compilations of all this psych stuff, and put like little sound effects and bits of other weird little albums in between and all that. And we made this cassette, and we gave it around, to people, and it had like, Dan Tallien's Chariot on there, Madman Running Through the Field, and what else did it have on it? I think it had some Elevators stuff on it. I think it had Pushing Too Hard by The Seeds.
That's great.
Psychotic Reaction, Camp 5, I think. And it just, it sort of set me off this like mission. And then we were in America, and I was doing an interview on a radio station, and I sort of got on with the DJ fella, and he said, "Oh, meet us tomorrow, and I'll take you to a record fair in Dallas." This is in about 1982, something like that, 83. So, and he took me to this record fair, and I was getting like things like that, like
Strange.
Nighttime by the Strangeless, and I don't know where I got that's a British one, that one, so I'm not sure about that. Granny Takes a Trip by the Purple Gang. I think that was on it as well. And I just started getting all these things, that's a reissue, but Creation.
Yeah.
Love them.
And
that was one I bought then in Dallas. Sam, the Castaways, Liar Liar. These are all on like them Nuggets things. These are the original ones.
That's
Some
crazy.
of them, not all of them. That one as well. Mind Rocker and the American Breed.
That's amazing.
Amboy Dukes, Journeys to the Centre of Your Mind, or The Mind. Yeah, The Mind. Ain't seen nothing yet. Blues Magoos.
Blues Magoos, yeah.
Lots of Doors, Rolling Stones. 13th Floor Elevators, I got that one there. You're Gonna Miss Me. On the original label. As far as I know, it's not a reissue, because this was early Doors, because no one had heard of them, really. They hadn't sort of
blown up.
like they are now. They're like revered now. We went to see him one time in Austin. Must have been Austin actually, wasn't Dallas? It must have been Austin. Now I think about it. Although no, it was Dallas because we went to that museum where they've got like Kennedy's shirt covered in blood.
Right.
in a thing, you know.
Oh,
it's like,
God.
and we went past the book depository thing and all that stuff, and the grassy knoll and all.
Right.
That. And this lad took us round in his car. The little there's like a ramp going down to this underground police station thing where, you know, Oswald was killed by Jack Ruby.
Jack Ruby, yeah.
And it was just there. And he showed me all these things at the time, you know. So it must have been Dallas. But unless I'm getting mixed up with two other people. When you're on tour, you meet people and they want to be your mate and all that, and they take you around or do things, you know, take you to certain things and, you know, tell you about good pubs and clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
What's that one here? The Count 5 Psychotic Reaction.
Oh,
That's a
let's go.
classic.
Yeah.
Misunderstood. That's a reissue, that one. The Kingsman. Louie. Oh, this is good. The Trip, but it's Godfrey, this one. It's not Kim Fowley.
Right.
You know.
What is it about the 7-inch format that...
I've got a jukebox that
Yeah.
I bought for 50 quid
Yeah.
on Victoria Street.
Yeah.
Chocolate Watch Band, that's another reissue.
Oh, belter.
This one here. Now, this was a bootleg, and this came out. This is the Velvets.
Right.
And it's Foggy Notion.
Oh.
But it came out when, yeah, during the punk thing, but it's a bootleg. And they were playing it in Eric's. I went, what's that? And Norman, you know, the DJ,
Yeah.
the Eric's. And he said, oh, it says Foggy Notion, you know, the Velvets. And it doesn't say it on it anywhere, but it's definitely them. Like, says Lou Reed on it, like so. 1976. So I got that from Probe.
That's crazy.
Was Probe your go-to, like local
Probe,
record shop?
Backtracks and Penny Lane.
Yeah.
Probe was where where the little steps up and all that.
Oh, the Button
But
Street.
just around the corner was like a more second-hand record place called Backtracks, and there you get stuff in there. And when it was on my dinner hour when I was working, this would be like 76. I used to go into Penny Lane and just hang out with them lads in there, you know, and talk records. I remember there was like on the till. This has been, well, probably would have been 77 by then, or maybe even 78. But they had a cheap rack, you know, ones they wanted to get rid of, and there was 12 inches had sort of just been invented or whatever, you know, and there was loads of Joy Division 12 inches, you know, that ideal for living.
Yeah.
And every week I'd shall I get one of them? Yeah. And it was a bit crap. One, like God, it wasn't as good as, you know, Unknown Pleasures.
Yeah.
So I never bought them, you know, but they were like, I can't remember what they were, you know, £1.50 or something or whatever.
They'd be worth loads now.
Yeah. And they had a big load of them. They couldn't get rid of them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny. That was Penny Lane, which was just by where I worked. And you went down some stairs and it was just there. It's just a tiny little record shop. I don't know whether there was one in Penny Lane. I think there might have been at some point. But yeah, just love all this like psych stuff. And I love that one, March of the Flower Children, The Seeds.
Let's go.
Great.
The Seeds.
Oh yeah, that one's Shadow of the Night, isn't it? That's it. Shake. Yeah. I think they did. What did they do? Shadows of the Night, their famous one. Oh, that's good. The Flower Children.
Flower Children.
Music Machine.
Nice.
Double Yellow Line. Shapes of Things from Max Frost and the Troopers.
Let's go.
There's another Velvets one here. This one was that was released as like I think Peasy, our manager, bought me a box set of Velvets things.
Nice.
But they had no, because my jukebox, you got to have the big hole in the middle.
Right.
So some of them, American ones, you always get them like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But some of the British ones, I have to push them out,
you
or
have
I
to
don't
dink
like
'em.
doing it.
Yeah.
This is another bootleg. This is that one was all right as well.
Wow.
This is another Velvets one. You're Driving Me Insane.
Yeah.
You know, which is great. It's an early doors one when they were working for that Pickwick Records, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Just goes on and on. Strawberry Alarm Clock. It's a classic, that one. That's a reissue. Hurricane Fighter Plane by the Red Crayola.
Nice.
And that was another good album. I think we put that on that, me and Bernie, I think we put it on that original Grapefruit. Dear Delilah, that's more British psych kind of bit twee. Pictures of Matchstick Men.
Let's go.
Well, yeah.
You gotta love Pictures of Matchstick Man.
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
I liked. They were the first band I ever saw
Yeah.
live. You know, I liked them. You know,
I think they're a great band. Yeah, wildly
Nas.
underrated. Nice.
Nas, yeah.
Standbells.
yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Dirty Water, is it? No. No, it's just that was a reissue thing.
Nice.
But yeah, I've got loads, and there's loads. Like these are the ones that are on the jukebox. you
Right.
know, there's-
Right.
But it takes 50 records, and I got it from. It was about 1984, 83, and there was like a shop on Victoria Street that used to sell jukeboxes and one-arm bandits and things like that. And it was 50 quid.
Wow.
And like 50 quid was cheap then,
Yeah.
really, know. I suppose it was a week's wages at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's still going.
That's really cool.
It's still going. And it sounds great. And even like records that you put on there are all scratched up and look a bit knackered.
Yeah.
Somehow it just seems to plough through it all
That's right.
and play them, and it's brilliant. There were some fellas, like I live in the countryside, and there was these fellas shooting, like, they had like decoys out,
Right.
to get pigeons to come and all that. And they have these things, they're like, they go round in a circle like a bird, and it's like a pigeon sees it or a crow or whatever. Hey, what's going on down there? Eating something. I'm going down there. And I wheeled my jukebox out, started playing them, playing it dead loud to scare everything off. Like,
That's great. Saving the birds. Yeah. God. So one of the core reasons we started the podcast was to build a platform for local bands. With your experience in the music industry, then and now, what advice would you give to young bands who are starting out? Or would you give any at all?
Get a job.
Get a job.
I don't know. It's difficult.
Yeah.
You've got to be really into it. It's got to be, like, it's easier now, but it's also harder because it's saturated.
Yeah.
I saw something on the internet the other day. It was that lad, Richard Osman, talking about that field music band.
Yeah.
And they've decided to start a Doors tribute band because they can make a bit of money that way.
On it. Yeah.
Because nobody's making any money, and you can't, like, we had to give our jobs up. Mac was on the dole. I had a job. Les had a job. Pete DeFreitas was going to go to Oxford University. He gave that up to be in the band. Wow. People forget about that. He gave up a lot to do it. We were lucky we got a publishing deal quite early on, so that was like giving us a little bit of a wage for a while,
Nice.
But it's bloody hard.
It's tough, isn't it?
I can't,
Yeah.
I think you've got to start boycotting Spotify and all them things. Just get rid of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Book them off.
Yeah.
They're not doing you any good. And you're like in this pool of millions of people, and there's no quality control. Like, anyone can put any old shite up there. It's like they're just interested in getting the revenue, and that's it. They're not really music people.
Yeah. And
the worst thing is the record labels are in cahoots with them, and they've sold everybody down the river as far as I can see. And if you don't get 1,000 plays, you get no money. So
how does that even work?
That's theft, innit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People can just listen to it for free.
As long as you're not stealing too much,
Yeah.
it's okay. Nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It should be a thing run by honourable people.
Yeah.
And it's not. And it's just breadheads and grabbers.
Yeah.
So none of my solo bits will ever be on any of them platforms.
That's cool.
There's no point. Like, I wouldn't get 1,000 plays anyway, but I'm not really giving up a lot. You could say, oh, you're not giving up anything, but that's a principle thing,
So the way you listen to music, is that just through the jukebox with the 50 selection there? But then how do you discover new music and who you're listening to at the moment?
Like the AV8 boys have been sending me all their stuff, and I like that Sunstack Jones a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, some of the other things that they put out. Nick Powers' record's good. I think he's the brother of one of the Coral, and he's done that 8-bit thing. Have you heard that?
Yeah,
That's really good.
That's Ian Skelly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the last new thing I bought was probably that Waterboys record, which is
the Dennis Hopper one.
yeah, Life and Death of Dennis Hopper, or Life, Death and Dennis Hopper. And I thought it was great.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not like in the pub where I go to in my village, the Waterboys are a big deal. You know, they've got a jukebox in there, and Fisherman's Blues is always on it.
That's great.
And you know, in fact, I texted Mike Scott one time, said, "Oh, they're playing Fisherman's Blues again in the pub," and yeah, so I did like them, but I didn't really go and see him or I've got any records by him or anything. But I did buy that one, and I thought it was great. You know, what else have I been buying lately? I bought a band called the thing's called Mind How You Go.
Right.
It's a 10-inch.
Okay.
It's like it was a bit like music from public information films of the 70s.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like primitive synth sounds and stuff. You know.
Nice.
Mind How You Go.
Yeah.
Got that. What else have I been buying lately? I buy stuff all the time, but it's generally 60s and 70s stuff, really. Just trying to think what I've got lately. I bought a Soft Machine album.
Oh, Soft Machine are brilliant.
Which was, I didn't like it. I just bought it because I thought.
I think those first couple of albums are great, yeah.
I think it was the first album.
Right.
It's a bit too, I don't know, wasn't that impressed. I like Why Are We Sleeping?
Yeah.
They used to play that in Eric's.
Right.
That's the first time I heard that, which is, you know, unusual for a punk club, you know. Metal Airbane, they were a band that I quite liked. They were a punk band with a drum machine.
Right.
And they weren't particularly an influence, but they were like, you know, a guitar band with a drum machine. So it was, you know, and I only really heard about them after we were a guitar band with a drum machine.
Right.
Yeah, I've got a few things on there.
I've seen you a couple of times down at District on sign nights, like watching the Stamp and stuff like that. Do you find yourself like supporting like local bands by going there? Is it a general curiosity that you have?
Well, you know, if something's good, I'll go and see them. You know? Or if somebody tells me, you know, go and see these are really good. You know, so go to, you know, see gigs quite a lot, really.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just part of what you do, and if you're into music,
Totally.
you know.
Yeah.
Went to see Hawley the other day in Blackpool.
He's doing Cole's Corner at the minute, isn't he? Like, it's one of my favourite albums, actually. I love that record.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. You know, he's a brilliant guitarist.
He's great, isn't he?
You know,
we went to see him.
As well as a brilliant singer. Like.
Yeah. We went to see him with John Grant doing the songs of Patsy Cline as well.
Oh, wow. No,
that was really good. Yeah. Like John Grant and Hawley together were just, really good. Yeah.
He knows his onions, all that.
Yeah.
He's always sending me like, this, and it'll be some garage thing, you know.
Right.
Some weird, rare thing that he's found.
Got his ear to the ground and like finding new bits and cool. So on to what's next then. We're is there anything coming up that you're you're saying maybe there's a tour in the works or?
Yeah, just like a tour. I think it's going to be announced imminently.
Nice.
I think. British tour, American tour, and some in Europe.
Right.
Got it all on there.
Yeah.
But it'd be boring me looking through it and saying.
Oh, well,
we're
that's
doing
exciting.
the Empire in Liverpool.
Nice. That'll be cool. We'll have to get tickets for that. So, yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming down today, chatting to us everything about music and vinyl and Bunnymen. We're really, really grateful for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talking about records.
Yeah.
So that's why we ended up in this.
Yeah. For sure.
We went from just being like avid collectors to this is what's happened. That's what the slippery slope of vinyl can lead you into.
It's a drug, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
I tell you honestly, it
it's an addiction.
spirals. It spirals out of control.
Yeah.
I call it vinyl fever.
Yeah, I've got about 5 hi-fi setups in my house. I can play records in any room I go into.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, and I've got a jukebox, and I've got about 6 Dan set style record, mono with the lid and all that. And I don't know why I've got them. I don't need them.
Yeah. But it's just how it goes, isn't
yeah.
it? You just see them and you gotta get 'em.
Well, it's like you're trying to salvage it from the skip.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's mad. Yeah. I found there was one time we were like, I lived next door to a school, and they obviously had music lessons, and it was raining, and I used to take my dogs through the grounds, like, you know, and there was a skip there, and it had 5 Wurlitzer electric pianos in it, 5 of them. So I managed, like, I was going on tour the next day, but I managed to get 3 of them out.
Right.
I got them in my garage and drying out.
That's crazy.
And I phoned up my mate Steve, said, Steve, there's still 2 Wurlitzers left in that skip. Can you go and get them? Yeah. So he got them other 2 out.
Wow.
And we put them in my garage to dry out. They were there for like a couple of months just drying out. And we managed to get 4 of them going.
Wow.
I've still got 1. And I gave them away, really, you know, to studios and things like that.
Yeah.
But they were just it's an electric piano in a skip.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like some sort of teaching system, because one of them had like a great big multi-core, big connector on it. And the teacher could turn people off, you know, little Johnny's playing shit and turning him off. You know? But they could all play along, you know.
Right.
And they were all like linked up, and she had control over them. You know, it was a weird system.
Yeah.
That one we didn't get going, but the other 4.
The other 4 were good.
Going.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's about instruments and physical. It's like preserving it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just seems like such a waste and a shame when you see something.
You can get a sample, or it can be on, you know, a plug-in on something, and it sounds the same, but it's not the same.
No. It's that like tangible, being able to feel it and noodle your way through it and find something new. Yeah. Once again, Will, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed that conversation. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week on Thursday with a special live performance. All will be revealed very soon. Thank you very much.
Cheers.